As a lot of you guys probably know by now, I've been dividend growth investing for around 7 years and have been able to build out a long-term dividend growth portfolio that now pays me around $6,100 per month on average in dividends across all my portfolios. And if we head over here to my dividend tracker, which shows every single position throughout all my portfolios, you can see as of right now, I currently have around 2,818 shares of Realty Income, ticker symbol O. Now, just my shares of Realty Income alone pays me around $800 or so on a monthly basis, or around $10,000 per year in dividends. Now in this video, I'm going to share with you why Realty Income is my #1 holding as far as a single stock position. And I'm also going to share why I'm so bullish on Realty Income for the future. Then later on, we're going to go over the exact math on what my shares of Realty Income could look like in the future. So if you personally own any shares of Realty Income or have ever planned on it, make sure to stick around until the end of the video because you are definitely not going to want to miss a thing. I just finished my brand new dividend investing ebook where I share exactly how I went from 0 to now over 7 figures invested, and also on how I earned more than $6,000 per month in dividends. I also finished my custom dividend tracker that you can use to track your dividend income progress on an ongoing basis. So make sure to grab yourself a copy of my dividend investing ebook and the new dividend tracker today. It's the first link in my description. So first things first, why have I been buying so many shares of Realty Income on a consistent daily basis, as you can see right here inside of one of my portfolios over the last 5 or so years now? Now there's been times over the years where I bought 100 shares of Realty Income on a single day. As of right here, you can see I bought 100 shares of Realty Income at around $59. And then there's been times where I just bought a share or two of Realty Income, but across all my portfolios at this point, I have basically on average bought a few shares of Realty Income every single day over the past several years. Now, the main reason on why I've been so bullish on Realty Income over the past years and why I continue to be so is partially because for me as a long-term dividend growth investor, I love real estate, especially high quality real estate, and I definitely want to have real estate exposure. Now, I personally am a huge fan of real estate because it offers the potential to grow over time, but also the cash flow associated with real estate and the consistent monthly payouts, especially when we're talking high quality real estate, has historically been pretty good. Now, of course, I could have taken that money and bought real estate on my own, which I also have done. I do own some physical real estate also, but Realty Income owns 13,200 different commercial properties leased to over 1,300 different clients, which means it's going to be much more diversified than anything that I can afford, obviously. Now, Realty Income's top 10 industries are also what I would like to call pretty recession-proof areas. Things like grocery stores, convenience stores, dollar stores, drugstores make up the majority of Realty Income's portfolio, which in my opinion means that even if there is some sort of recession or another economic downturn, I think for the most part, Realty Income's portfolio will fare just well. Also, looking at Realty Income's client diversification, this is another reason now why I've been so bullish on this REIT over the past decade. Things like Walgreens, Dollar General, Dollar Tree, then companies like 7-Eleven, Walmart, CVS, etc. Again, a lot of these clients are what I would like to consider sort of recession-proof, meaning that once again, if the economy is doing well, if the economy is doing bad, for the most part at least, Realty Income will continue to get their rent checks sent to them consistently. And there's data to prove this. You can see that Realty Income's portfolio occupancy over the past, say, 30 or so years has never dipped below 96%. So again, going off the example of, let's say you or I buying a rental property versus buying into Realty Income. Let's say we buy a duplex for a few $100,000. If you can't get one of the sides rented out, your portfolio occupancy is going to be 50%, which is horrible. Where Realty Income, because they're so diversified and because they have so many different properties with so many different tenants, they have never dipped below 96%, which is very, very impressive, and which again allows me to sleep well at night. Normally for me as a dividend growth investor, I like to invest into ETFs because I like to be diversified as possible. And as you can see in my dividend tracker with all my different positions, and side note, you can grab this exact dividend tracker. It's the first link in my description. But as you can see, I like to be very diversified. I do not like putting all my eggs in one basket, and I would consider myself sort of a scaredy cat investor that's sort of on capital preservation mode, even though I am pretty young at 31 years old. But that being said, even for an investor with my strategy and my risk profile, Realty Income makes me sleep very well at night, knowing that the majority of their overall portfolio is in very, very strong industries and rented to a very high quality top 20 clients at that. Now, I sort of touched on a little bit earlier the fact that Realty Income, or real estate for that matter, has always been an interest of mine because I like the idea of an asset growing over time pretty consistently, which is exactly what we've seen with the Realty Income share price over the last, say, 30 or so years. We've seen the share price grow over 600%, and that's not even including dividends. Because generally speaking, over time, real estate has generally went up. And of course, there's been small times in history where real estate's really taken a hit. But again, if you zoom out long enough, and if you do have a long enough time frame to invest into, real estate has been pretty dang good. But we also mentioned earlier in the video that cash flow is something that I've always been looking to chase, especially because I want to most likely use some of my dividends, if not all my dividends, in the next, say, 5 or so years to help pay for bills or help pay for vacations or whatever it might be. So for me personally, I like to invest into different stocks or ETFs that offer cash flow, especially if they offer a good amount of cash flow from day one. That's a bonus. And when it comes to Realty Income, no matter where I've bought my shares over the last, say, 5 or so years, I've had a starting dividend yield of anywhere from around 4 to maybe 6%, depending on, again, if Realty Income's price is on a dip or maybe it's at an all-time high. I've bought Realty Income shares in the 70s, and I've also bought Realty Income shares in the 40s. But needless to say, Realty Income's starting yield has been pretty good to offer a good amount of cash flow, which I showed you earlier. I'm earning around $700 or $800 on a monthly basis between all the shares in all of my portfolios. Also, not to mention, Realty Income has consistently grown their dividend over time, so at least historically speaking, I'm going to get paid more and more and more, even if I don't buy another single share of Realty Income. Now, another sort of cool thing to look at when it comes to Realty Income in one of my portfolios, keep in mind in this portfolio, I only have around, say, 800 or so shares. I do have shares across multiple portfolios, like I said, but in this portfolio, you can see that the dividend snowball has been working quite well. As I've gotten paid overtime from dividends with Realty Income, I've reinvested into more shares of Realty Income month over month, where you can see throughout 2023, I was earning $142 at one time in this portfolio, and then just as of recently, I got paid $237, which shows pretty substantial dividend growth so far. And I show you this just as a visual that if you own a high quality asset that pays a dividend consistently, and if you choose to reinvest those dividends into more shares of that asset, over time it will grow and the compounding effect will take place. Now lastly, I thought it'd be kind of fun to type in my 2,800 or so shares into the dividend calculator of Realty Income and see how much Realty Income shares or money we could be looking at in the future. So with Realty Income being a monthly paying dividend stock and with dividend reinvestment being turned on, which, side note, I don't have drip turned on for Realty Income, but every time I do get paid from Realty Income, I buy more shares. And like I showed you guys, I pretty much buy some shares of Realty Income on a daily basis, more or less at this point. But I have around 2,800 shares currently, and with Realty Income's around 5.17% initial dividend yield, around a 3% annual dividend amount increase, 3% share price increase, 20 years invested. So this is going to show us what I would have by the time I turn 51 years old, potentially. So as we can see right now, I currently have around 2,800 shares of Realty Income, which earns somewhere around $8,500 per month. Now, side note, this is not going to be going off my personal yield on cost, but again, this is just giving us an idea. Now, 5 years down the road, if I never purchased another share of Realty Income, just let the dividends reinvest and do their thing, I'd be almost at $13,000 per year in dividends. Now, 10 years down the road, I'd be over 5,000 shares of Realty Income and almost $20,000 per year in dividends, with a total value amount of over $400,000 of Realty Income. Now, 15 years down the road, we're talking 6,600 shares of ticker symbol below and around $30,000 per year in dividends just from Realty Income. All the way at the bottom though, 20 years in, 8,542 shares of Realty Income and around $45,000 per year in dividends, which would be around $920,000 worth of value. Now what's cool about my specific strategy is that I also plan on buying more shares of Realty Income ongoingly. Throughout this year, I'll probably add at least a few hundred more shares throughout my portfolios. But now I want to hear from you guys down below. When it comes to ticker symbol low Realty Income, how many shares of Realty Income do you have across your portfolios? And comment down below your long-term goal as far as the amount of shares go for ticker symbol low. If you guys enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos like this in the future, make sure to please like this video and subscribe for more future content like this. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.